So the IWI Tavor X95. This is a bullpup rifle by Israel Weapon Industries. It's chambered in 5.56. Overall length is 26 inches. And today I just want to share some of my initial thoughts on this rifle. I put about 200 rounds through it, so I have a good first impression, I would say, on the rifle. We're just going to talk about how this would apply for someone in a civilian context, like what this could do for you at home, sporting, defense, that kind of thing, and we'll go from there. So first things first, we'll go ahead and make the rifle clear. Okay, rifle is clear. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is the difficulty of actually locking the bolt back with this. It's kind of a two-handed operation. You're going to have to pull back on the charging handle and lift this tab back here. That's your bolt catch and release. So that's something we'll talk a little more in depth later. But we'll just go over real quick what I have set up here on the rifle. This is a blue force gear Vickers combat application sling. Very comfortable. I'm happy with it. We have a mag pull foregrip, which is nice to have. Keeps your hand away from the end of the rifle. And I have a Vortex Strike Fire 2 red dot here. Not exactly a precision optic. It's got a big dot. I would say it works for 100 yards and in, but beyond that, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to make some precise shots. So I will most likely be replacing that soon with a little more of a precise optic. So I guess we'll address the elephant in the room here, which is the manual of arms when it comes to this. Being a bullpup, the rifle does load from the rear. Back here, the magazine goes right there. So in the United States, we're very familiar with the AR-15 design, which is a traditional rifle, if you will. It loads from the front. Basically, with a bullpup, the action and everything happens behind the trigger. So it's a very different setup for someone who's used to an AR-15 platform to get used to. A lot of the weight is back here, which has benefits and drawbacks. A big benefit is you can manipulate this thing one-handed pretty easily if need be. A lot of that weight rests in your shoulder, so that is kind of nice. Also, for the X95 model, they integrated a AR-15 style mag release here. On the regular Tavor model, it used to be a paddle release, which you can almost see they still have a cutout for here. So it would have been a paddle that you would press and remove the mag that way. And like I mentioned earlier, the bolt catch is actually right here at the back. So when you're inserting a mag, you just press it with your thumb, unlike on an AR-15 where it would be up here. But I don't see that as really a drawback. It makes sense when you're inserting the mag. You can do it all with one hand to reload the rifle. So I would say it takes some getting used to with this manual of arms. It's definitely a big switch up, and I think once you get used to it, it becomes very ergonomic. Actually, I do like it. So we'll go over what I think is the most significant benefit of this platform, which is going to be its overall length. So like I said earlier, this is 26 inches overall, which if you're familiar with any of the gun laws in the United States, is the minimum required overall length to not be considered an NFA item. Below 26 inches, I believe this would be considered a short-barreled rifle, actually, despite the fact that it has a 16-inch barrel. I could be wrong, it may be in any other weapon. But regardless, if it's under 26 inches overall length and it has a stock on it, it's going to be put in NFA jail. So this actually is very clever because it gets the overall length by this butt pad right here. This is the thing that pushes it over for the overall length. So I'm not a lawyer, this isn't legal advice, but I don't think you would want to change out that butt pad or do anything to potentially lengthen or shorten the rifle, save for the muzzle device. I don't believe that's considered part because it is removable. So yeah, I would definitely say the overall length is the biggest advantage that you're going to get from this. This would be, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the equivalent of a 10.5-inch AR-15 would be around this length. So you're saving a ton of space in terms of length. And I guess that kind of segues into the defense portion of this, how that fits into a civilian context. If a rifle is part of your home defense setup, I think this would be an excellent choice because it's very compact, easily manipulated in tight situations like going through a house if need be. And it's very easy to handle as compared to an AR-15 when you're talking a lot more length out front. The fact that it's in the back saves a significant amount of space actually. So I think in that sense it is good for home defense. Some drawbacks to the home defense situation, like I mentioned earlier, could be the manual of arms. If you're not used to something like this, that can definitely be a setback, and that's something that you need to consider. So we'll talk about the sporting aspect of this. Is it fun to shoot? Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to buy this as something that would be like a precision rifle, something extremely accurate? I think the answer to that is no. There are plenty of videos out there showing that this has some less than stellar accuracy when you're going for precision shots. So would it fare well in something like maybe a 3-gun match? Yeah, absolutely. I think it would do just fine. But if you're trying for like MOA accuracy, this is definitely not the gun for you. Looking for something fun to shoot, absolutely. Something different, yeah, I think it would be good in that sense. But if you're looking for a precision rifle, you're definitely going to want to look elsewhere. Another thing that needs to be addressed is the price of this rifle. It is definitely not cheap. I picked this one up for a little bit under $2,000. That's more or less what you're going to be expecting to pay for this, which in the world of AR-15s is a pretty significant price tag. I would say that puts you on the higher mid-tier to even upper tier AR builds that you'll find out there. So it does not come cheap. And I think that's owing more to the fact that this is a unique rifle. With AR-15s, a lot of the process is indeed standardized, so that saves a lot of cost. Obviously it's standardized with this, but this is a one-of-one rifle here. You don't see like a bunch of companies making Tavor clones, so access to the building plans and stuff like that is exclusive to IWI, and therefore I guess they can command a premium for it. But at $2,000, that is something that definitely needs to be considered. And it comes down to whether or not you actually like the way the rifle handles. So I would say if you're not sold on the rifle immediately, I would try and get out to a range that would let you rent this and shoot it first. And so you can kind of get a feel for it, because it definitely is not a small purchase. Okay, so we'll go over the pros and cons of this rifle. I have 3 big ones for each. So the pros first, I would say number 1 is going to be the overall length. At 26 inches, that is as short as you can legally go without getting into NFA territory. The weight distribution, the fact that it's at the rear, makes it a lot easier to handle. And I would just say the ergonomics as well. The grip is very comfortable, and just generally the rifle seems to handle very well. So the cons, I would say the first one is definitely the price. At $2,000, this is a hard pill to swallow. That's a big ask for what this is. Number 2, I would say the manual of arms. Like I said earlier, it's going to take you a while to get used to this. You're going to want to do a couple range trips with it to just get the feel for it. And number 3 would be the accuracy. And although I cannot confirm this myself because I've not put it through accuracy testing yet, the things that I've seen from other videos seem to prove that this does have some inherent accuracy issues. compared to like your typical AR. So that's something you'll need to consider, whether or not that's a big deal to you. If it's outside of 3 MOA, you know, then that's a call that you'll have to make for yourself. But those are my pros and cons that I see with this rifle. So some closing thoughts on the Tavor. What do I ultimately think of this rifle? I like it. I like the bullpup design. I think it's really cool. It handles well. It's fun to shoot. I think it's promising for most home defense applications. So that's something that I kind of keep it in that box for. But do I think for the typical person this is something that you would want to buy? Probably not. Like I said, at $2,000 you could get a very good AR-15 for that price that will do everything this can do and more, save for the, you know, inherent bullpup benefits that it has. But I think you're better off taking the $2,000 and buying a mid-tier AR and some ammo and just practicing with that. You're going to be a lot better off. For me, I tend to collect guns more than just for practicality. It's just to have, because it's cool to have the piece in my collection. So for me, it fits more into that box. And if that's something that you're looking for and you just want to add a bullpup to your collection, I would say this is probably the best one that you could add relative to the competitors out there. So it all depends on what you're looking for, but for a first rifle or a primary rifle even to go to, I would say stick with an AR. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe. I will be trying to make more content soon. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.